Y'all ready to be history?
Get started.
Welcome.
Hi.
Hello, everyone.
To the Pro Audio Suite.
These guys are professional. They're motivated.
Thanks to TriBooth, the best vocal booth for home or on-the-road voice recording. And Austrian Audio, making passion heard. Introducing Robert Marshall from Source Elements and Someone Audio Post, Chicago. Darren Robbo Robertson from Voodoo Radio Imaging, Sydney. Tech to the VO Stars, George the Tech Whittam from LA. And me, Andrew Peters, voiceover talent and home studio guy.
Line up, learner!
Here we go.
And welcome to another Pro Audio Suite, thanks to Austrian Audio, making passion heard. And TriBooth, don't forget the code TRIPAP 200 to get $200 off your TriBooth. Now, Robbo's just moved house again. And he's a bit sick of patching holes in walls and repainting after setting up his studio at home. So what's the solution?
Well, okay, so yeah, you've basically nailed it in one. I'm a renter, unfortunately, in the Sydney market, and we were not forced out, but our owners wanted a $350 a week rent increase, to which we said, fuck off, see you later. Especially when we had to move the couches off the wall in the lounge room because every time it rained, the wall became a waterfall. That was probably part of the reason.
Jesus.
But anyway, so look, we've moved into this new place. It's a newer place. They've actually recently painted the walls and all that sort of stuff. And whilst, yes, I do know how to patch walls after, a couple of moves and patch them so that they can't be seen and all that sort of stuff, do I really want to have to do it when I move out is what I'm asking myself. So I brought all my panels that I made with me last time, and they will fit in this room because it's pretty much similar dimensions. But I have that option to just put the screws in the wall, but I Googled around and I came across a guy on YouTube who was talking about ones that he's built them so light that you can just put a picture hook, literally a picture hook in the wall, and they're so light that they'll stay up, and they seem to me to look reasonably effective. So basically what he does is he builds just a little pine frame that's the same size as he needs, and then he puts some material on the back. He puts his rock wool. He doesn't use rock wool, he uses something else, but he puts his rock wool in there, and then he builds like a little sort of 3mm MDF frame that goes around the outside and then covers that in fabric and hangs it up. Now, I looked at that, not being particularly sort of savvy when it comes to this sort of stuff. I looked at that and went, well, that looks like it'd work. But I did send George the link to have a look at. I don't know whether he did or not, but he might have more to say on what he thinks. Yeah,
I'm looking at it right now. The stuff he's laying into the frame looks like carpet padding. Mm-hmm. It's that recycled rubber material, foam rubber, where it's been chipped and bonded together into sheets. And it's actually really similar to what's inside of a studio brick wall too, by the way.
Oh, really? Okay.
That's very similar. Like it might be the same stuff. So from an acoustical treatment standpoint, I've never used it. I don't know anything about how it works. I'm sure it works as good or better than any acoustical foam does, but I don't know what its acoustical property would be. I would still prefer to use rock wool or any kind of mineral wool because it's fantastic for that stuff.
So if you stuck rock wool in there, let's say, do you think it's still
similar in weight?
Yep.
I mean, it wouldn't really be any heavier.
Okay.
It'd be thicker though.
Rock wool's a bit thicker than that.
To do its job, rock solid is like usually twice as thick as 703.
But it shouldn't add to the weight.
Well, they make a 703 in 1 inch, 2 inch, and you can get rock wool and
right. But the same property, the same absorption property of a 703 in 1 inch takes 2 inches of rock wool. It's not the same efficiency.
Yeah, I don't know. That's debatable. But anyway, yeah, it's the OC is really some of the best stuff pound for pound.
It is, yeah.
But the frame is nice because it is a very lightweight frame. I mean, I install panels all day long that have a wooden frame, a wooden backer, rock wool, and a fabric wrapping on them that weigh about the same as what this guy said. He said it's 5 to 6 kilograms. That's not light.
No, it's not light, but it will. A picture hook will hold it. But the one thing I wanted to ask you is when he builds the frame, pine, say it's 1 inch the thickness of the pine. He puts his backing in the inside of the frame, which leaves a 1 inch gap between the back of the pad and the wall. He said that helps with the absorption. Is that right? Should it not sit flat against the wall?
No, it shouldn't. It depends on how much base you want it to take out, actually.
You'll get a little increase of performance. It's not like an immediate improvement, like a big improvement. But if let's say you have a 2 inch thick absorber and you have a 2 inch gap behind it, it will improve the absorber's low frequency absorption. Yes. Yeah. Not as much as if you were to just simply hang up a 4 inch thick panel flush against the wall, right? But so like if you're trying to save money on materials, 2 inches with a 2 inch gap is the way to go. If you're trying to save space, it doesn't make any freaking difference. So you're still going to stick out 4 inches, right? So it just depends. But
you can put the 1 inch or the 2 inch panels right against the wall and have great performance.
Yeah, I mean, it'll do well down to 400 hertz easily, or maybe even lower.
Yeah, especially for like voice stuff, it works well. And then if you do have a bass trap to like grab it, bass is a little bit more omni. It doesn't have to be on every wall like that. So you can, find the corner where the bass builds up and grab it there instead of trying to grab it from every place within the booth. I just do 1x1 frames, and then you get whatever fabric you're gonna, use on the outside, and you make a little strap, and then you cut your 703, drop it in the frame, put your strap across, and staple it to the other side. And those are really light, you can just hang them on 2 nails usually if you want, or sometimes I do double-sided Velcro and just
do you guys
staple
have
the Velcro to the wall.
Do you guys have these things called command strips?
Yeah, 3M. Yeah.
So these are pretty expensive compared to regular Velcro, but they are magic for renters. Yeah. Like I'm a renter too.
Yeah.
And I've got hooks in my bathroom for hanging up clothing. They're supposed to only hold 3 or 4 pounds. But I've hung like 3 sweatshirts from a single hook.
Yeah.
And not had them fall. Like they're strong.
Yeah.
And so what I'll do is I'll use command strips to anchor the bottom of the panel, not the weight, but I'll have like 1 nail in the center to hold the most of the weight. And then I'll have a command strip at the bottom corners so the thing doesn't swing around, if you bump into it. And that is a really good sort of hybrid approach. Minimal wall nailing, no glue. God forbid you use glue. Do not use spray glue in any rental apartment.
I was feeling very brave at the last place, and I ran some LED lights up the wall, thinking, they'll come off. Is
that the one where the back has a back?
Yeah, it has an adhesive, and I pulled it off, and I took the paper off the drywall.
Robbo, I did the same damn thing. Oh God!
Spent half an hour patching that before I painted the room before we moved out too. But anyway,
I did the same thing, man. In my kids' room in my old place, it was not even 3 months before I moved out too. Yeah. Put up nice, cool rope, the ribbon light all around the room, and it had this industrial strength. 3M, adhesive. It was like a gray double-sided sticky.
Yep.
It was what was I thinking?
I know.
You idiot.
At the time, you think, I'll fix it when I move out, and then you move out and you go, oh shit, I've got to fix it.
I never should have done that.
It was a bad idea.
Have you ever used the cleats? Have you ever used the cleats?
Yeah, French cleats.
They're just these metal things. No. Well, yeah,
you just did on Thursday.
No, Orlex makes these cleats. They're basically like a metal thing that has spikes
I know them. Yep.
And you can put them in the wall with basically a variety of ways, but usually just a screw or 2 screws. And then you just take the 703, and it doesn't even need a frame. And that's the nice thing about 703s. It's rigid enough on its own where you can just wrap it with hot glue in your fabric that you want, and then just get these cleats and go on the wall, and you're done.
Yeah, the edges look a little bit spongy, but it definitely works. And these are called impaling clips, or they basically are metal spikes that stick out of the wall that the panel hangs from.
You can do the really thin stuff around the edge to not give it that spongy look. You can get the really, really thin, almost like veneer pieces.
Yeah, that's like MDF, the 3mm MDF. I don't know what that is in inches, I'm sorry, but the really thin one.
Yeah.
Yep. Well,
Yeah, the really good quality ones, they actually like a fiberglass or something. They harden the edges
Yeah, right.
with like an epoxy resin, and they look really sharp. Like I have one of those, but yeah, they're a lot harder to make them look really pro.
Well, the cleats that Robert's talking about, though, I made my own when I made these panels that I brought with me. I just did what's called a French cleat. So you basically take a piece of timber and you put your saw on an angle, and you cut it in half lengthwise, and so you have a straight side and then a side that's got sort of a slope on it, and then you use them to hang off each other on the wall, and that's what was screwed into the wall over at the last place was all these French cleats, and that's why I'm looking around here going, I really don't want to have to do that again if I don't have to.
Well, there is another idea. If you've ever thought about actually putting all of your panels on stands.
Yeah, but with kids and stuff, it's just a fucking nightmare, to be honest with you. I see the back of the room is a big, thick curtain, and this room is pretty much the same dimensions as my last place. So I'm going to rehang the curtain because there's only a couple of little screws that go in the curtain rod for that.
You know what? We should just need to use that stupid like tacky stuff that you would put your posters up.
Oh, blue tack.
Yeah.
You need a lot of blue tack.
Yeah, fucking oath. Yeah, give me some shares.
I'm telling you, those command strips are surprisingly good.
They are.
And here's another tip. Like a lot of the panels, you're basically trying to put an adhesive strip on fabric. It does not stick very well. But if your frame has a wooden frame, you can staple gun the Velcro to the panel. So you've got like a few staples holding the Velcro strip or the command strip to the panel, and then you put the other half on the wall. And that has worked really, really well as well for a few projects I've done. But yeah, getting them to not damage the walls and still stay there. The ceiling is the hardest, to have things not fall on your head. I'm using command strips to hold some 2-inch thick acoustical foam panels over my head.
Are you?
And that's been fine. But I don't know if I would rely on adhesive for anything heavy.
See, I had a couple of clouds over the mixing desk at the last place, and I'm looking at the ceiling here going, I don't know that I want to do that either. So yeah, there might be a plan B there as well, I think. But anyway.
Yeah, I mean the command strip, I'm just using like the little 2-inch long poster tape ones, and I just stuck the panels in the ceiling. Because I'm in an old...
How are you going to hang your Atmos speakers?
Yeah, right. Oh my God.
In your place?
I'm in an old 50s building, and these don't use drywall. This stuff is like
is it
concrete.
plaster? Yeah, or plaster.
Plaster.
Yeah.
It's a nightmare.
Yeah.
Hanging and mounting stuff to these
be.
walls. Like, it sucks.
And it'd be
so
brick
bad.
behind that, right?
Right. So like if I do anything, it's a single nail. I'll just like bang a single nail in.
Yeah.
And just, that's it. Like the rest I'll just, stick on. But yeah, that's the worst. Putting things in the ceiling. I installed panels in a client's closet last week, and, it took me an hour to hang 2 panels because they were the ones on the ceiling. Getting them to line up perfectly, be completely, flush, hanging on an angle, not crooked. Because they hang on hooks, so they hang down from the ceiling a few inches.
Yep.
Those are the hardest ones to get done looking good. The walls are a piece of cake in comparison,
It's a shame you haven't got picture rails.
Yeah,
What's that?
Picture rails. Yeah, we have them here
Picture
in Aussie.
rails.
They're a thing in the old houses of the vintage that you're talking about. It's like
picture rails. I think we call them gallery rails.
okay.
Oh, right, okay.
My old place has those. It's just that space between the crown molding and
Exactly.
the ceiling.
Yeah.
Hook up the wire.
Those are really cool. Yeah, you can hang things from
Yeah,
those.
totally.
Yep, I did that in my old place too. I had a 30s house I rented, and I would put screws in the very top or the back, almost the back edge of it, so you couldn't see them.
Yeah.
But there's also metal clips that are designed to clip into the gallery rails too. So
We have them in our house, and we use them. And in fact, when we did the extension on the house,
You put more in?
we put, gallery rails or picture rails.
You don't have to hang that many
in the
pictures of
rooms.
me around your house, mate, though. Seriously, that's
I
just
do,
crazy.
because I need... where else am I going to throw my darts?
It's actually darts, I was going to say. That's right.
there's another one that is a zero nail, zero penetration of any kind method, and that's using compression rods. So you have like a pole that goes from the floor to the ceiling,
Yep.
and you just jam it into the place, and then you could have 2 or 3 of them spaced along your wall, and then you just run a rope or and then you can hang everything from that
Yeah,
too.
that's a
so
great
more
idea.
work, but
Yeah.
if you don't want to put a single nail in your wall, that's another way.
Yeah,
to go.
no, I'm happy with the picture hook. Look, if
Yeah.
I have to do screws, I'll do screws. It's really doesn't
They're not
bother
that
me.
hard to patch. You just don't want to
No,
have a
but it's
gaping
just a
hole in the wall because
pain
a
in the
chunk of
ass.
concrete,
Yeah.
plaster came.
Yeah.
I've had that happen. I tried to
Yeah.
hang those those IKEA curtain cables.
Yeah, yeah.
Yep.
You know,
Yeah.
and so the thing's under tension. There's a lot of
Yeah.
there's a lot of stress on that
Yeah.
anchor, right? And my old girlfriend's place, like I could not get an anchor point that didn't just make bigger and bigger holes.
Yeah, yeah,
Yes.
yeah.
You know, when I was done, it was like a golf ball sized gaping hole in the wall. I was like, honey, I'm sorry, I give up.
Yeah,
I can't do it.
Yeah.
Probably because somebody else did it 20 years ago and patched it with patch. So all I was doing was ripping all the patch back out again.
Yeah.
Well, I used those wall mates at the last place. You know, you screw them into the drywall and then you put your screw into that.
Oh yeah, yeah.
So yeah,
No, I
so
use
you
them a
take
lot.
those out and
A molly.
yeah, you take those
More
out, and so
hardcore
you've
than
just
that.
got massive holes everywhere that you need to.
They do leave
to
big
cover
holes, yeah.
But they work really well. And look, and to be fair, one thing that's to my advantage in this place is they literally painted it before we moved in, and they've left the spare paint in the garage. So I have the paint, and if the paint dries out while we're staying here, at least I have the colour that I can go and get some more made up. Because that's the other bitch too when you're moving out is, you've got to get your razor blade and take a sample off the wall and run down to the local hardware store and go, can you match this for me? And then you get home and it's like, it doesn't quite
That's
match.
wrong.
So you got to go
Yeah.
back and anyway. There you
I'll
go.
give you a tip with the paint can.
Yeah.
Store it upside down.
Yes, I've heard that. And once I get the 10 million boxes, 3 book cabinets, 2 TVs, 5 kids' bikes, and God knows whatever else out in my garage, I should be able to get to the paint tins and actually do that. Yes.
Why store them upside down? Is it? It's like
It
peanut butter?
seals the air from getting in.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And also the skin's on the bottom as opposed to the top. So
Oh, the air seal. Yeah,
Yeah,
you're right.
yeah.
Because those metal lids, they don't really make a very
No.
great seal.
No. So,
You know, so the paint itself makes the seal.
Yeah, yeah.
yep.
How about it? I just learned something.
I see.
This isn't even the car talk of this old house.
us Aussies, we're not just pretty faces.
Indeed.
Very practical, you lot.
We have to be.
Well, that was fun. Is it over?
The Pro Audio Suite with thanks to Tribooth and Austrian Audio. Recorded using Source Connect. Edited by Andrew Peters and mixed by Voodoo Radio Imaging with tech support from George the Tech Whittam. Don't forget to subscribe to the show and join in the conversation on our Facebook group. To leave a comment, suggest a topic, or just say g'day, drop us a note at our website, theproaudiosuite.com.